Dire Team ban.
No.
Radiant Team ban. Dire Team ban. Radiant Team ban.
I'm feeling great. That was quite the series to start us off with. This is an equally important series for both teams. Going to be looking forward to how sides will play. Both of them have played pretty well. Geek Fam, of course, being probably even with Boom's East, I'd say, based on their history, based on their track records. They have been pretty even. Geek Fam has gotten a few more wins over Boom, but these two teams have faced off against so many times in the past. It's always fun watching them play against each other, mainly because they have a lot to really trade with each other. You already know each other's play styles quite well. At the very least, this time around, we do have a bit of a shake-up from the patch, so perhaps we see something different. Sides.
Dire Team
Any further, John, I do have to, of course, thank our beautiful sponsors, Monster, for keeping us energized as we bet for the official betting partner of the BTS Pro Series. By the way,
I believe I actually have Chaos. So it's got some ginseng in there. I have no clue. You know what? Go ahead, take it up here. What is this? Oh, it just...
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's Typhlosion. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is this beautiful can that I treat as a valuable resource. I only have one can. I cannot drink it because it has to last me. I need it for emergencies. I treasure it just like I treasure my Dakimuak. Precious. Oh, it's precious. It's still okay.
Unfortunately, I'm a bit casual, John. I've got the... I might have to step on my game tomorrow. Bring it, you know, not...
Radiant Team pick.
My character you're from John. Then again...
Radiant Team pick.
It's not...
Dire Team pick.
However, Booming John has begun. Boom, they do go into the Beastmaster. They do go into the Snapfire and hey, the Pug did some relevant nerfs in the...
Yeah, those are definitely needed. I think, you know, the changes are nice to balance it out. The cast range does make it less annoying, but a lot of Pugnas tend to max out Decrep and Netherblast anyway, so you're not going to see a massive impact. Earlier on, perhaps, when you're like level 6, that's going to be level 2 of Decrep, and you have your ult, so you're not going to reach as far. That's a pretty big cut into Decrep's range, and of course the duration of Netherward is pretty hard to deal with as well, but I think it's still going to be a very effective hero. It's great to have. Effectiveness of that is kind of mitigated here. Boom did go into it really early with that Master as well, and both of those heroes don't really deal with a Phantom Lancer. You can kind of find a real one by damaging those big wave, but you're going to be trying to isolate the real Phantom Lancer with target spell,
10 seconds
like the ultimate
remaining.
from the Beastmaster to Decrep from Pugna. That's a pretty tall order.
5 seconds remaining.
Continue to do this. So, I fixed them, don't worry. Now we definitely know who's who. Still, some nice openings from both teams. Esports, they do need to get one more ban out before we get to see where these drafts are going. Shouldn't be too long before we see that. Of course, Geek Fam, they did end up getting rid of the Leshrac. Boom. What are we getting rid of here?
Situation where the spirits aren't being banned out. River Spirit's still in the pool, Storm Spirit's still in the pool. Very viable picks for both sides. I'd say probably easier for Boom because they've got the Pugna on their side, so they can play against those spirits quite okay. Like, can punch them for spells, and they could pick it up themselves. So I think Boom set themselves up nicely for perhaps going for the Void or the Storm Spirit. One of those two are still available. Can go for either one.
They ban out the Centaur for now on Boom. So all spirits, apart from the Ember Spirits, still going to be very available for both teams. We'll see if they do opt to get. So we do go into the third pick for Boom Esports.
10 seconds
Bit
remaining.
of a think about it.
5 seconds remaining.
They're not quite locked into one yet. We just Pugna and the Beast don't necessarily tell you the complete story of this draft. They've got great single target control. They've got great ways of pushing. The Pugna and Beast really push quite fast. That's something Boom can play around. If they really wanted to go with a core, perhaps a core pick right here, they could go for something like the DP. That's a pretty priority pick. They go with the Elder Titan instead. They're giving themselves a lot more team fight. They're giving themselves more ways of perhaps dealing with that Phantom Lancer on top of everything else. Just kind of tying down that draft. I do like this coming out from Boom. I feel like the Elder Titan is strong support to have, running it in that role, and quite potent in the lane. So you've got to be a bit careful here from out. They pick up the Clockwork for themselves. There is a lot of value in that here. We've seen the Clockwork Snap combination multiple times. So you can trap someone in those cogs, get the Mortimer's Kisses off, and you'll basically kill anyone stuck. None of the heroes from Boom Esports are notably mobile, so that's something that Geek Fam can really start to push into them as they hit their level 6.
It's a really nice hero into that Pugna all the time as well, right? Because both of them want to channel their abilities. The Pugna with the life drain obviously does not enjoy battery assault. Even the Elder Titan, right? He's going to channel that stomp animation before it goes out all the way, and the clock can make it a little bit difficult to do anything. So I do love what I'm seeing here from Geek Fam. I believe that will be a Zephyr clock coming out. It's always a pleasure to play like Zephyr, who really does perform really well. Boom Esports. They go for the Storm. You don't have that counter pick in the Ember Spirit. They did ban it out in their first phase. So Geek Fam will have to go to something else to try and deal with this Storm Spirit.
The Void Spirit's still in the pool if they wanted to dip into it. Again, it's a bit safer for Boom to go for the Spirit Brothers, mainly because they've got the Pugna on their side. They've got the Beastmaster on their side. They're gonna still go with something. Beast can punish that with a puck instead. I think that plays into their Snapfire quite stronger. Right? You've got that Dream Coil now that can come out. All the control in the world for Geek Fam. Definitely burn through what Boom Esports has. The Beastmaster is pretty good for holding Puck down, but Puck is still a fairly slippery hero regardless of that Beast, and you can always itemize, make that Beastmaster work for the stun, build something like the Lincolns very early on in Puck. That's definitely a possibility to look at.
Not to mention Carl loves playing the hero, right? It's one of his signature heroes in that mid lane. He does really enjoy it. John, we were a little bit scared before the game because one of his other signature heroes was Tinker. We don't want to see that, right? No Tinkers, please.
Definitely not.
Thank goodness, though, Tinker is absolute garbage in this meta and has been for a long time. As far as I'm concerned, Iceberg's not bringing it back, which keeps me very happy.
It keeps the game enjoyable for everyone, so that's great. Still, you know, there is it's going to be a very back and forth kind of draft here. Geek Fam is going to be looking for that early aggression with the Snap Claw Puck. Boom can get out with their Puck Beast and Titan, but I think it's much safer for them to go for the tower push. They've got great ways of melting those early. There's really not many ways for Geek Fam to punish that just yet. They don't have the best wave clear. You have the Puck. That Snapfire kind of fastest wave clear. So there is a bit of an edge there for Boom. I like that last ban.
10 seconds remaining.
Right.
It would just add on to that push with the Beastmaster. All the towers are just melted.
5 seconds remaining.
Taking care of that is great. Still, gotta find out what they tie up their draft with first.
We're going to find out soon that they do have 2 minutes remaining in reserve time for this final pickup. And never mind, they don't want to use it. They do go to the SF. Which... So pause for Puck or pause for Clock?
I think pause for Clock. I think they are going for the Shadow Fiend Clockwork combination just to dominate that mid lane. That's a possibility. We don't always see the Clogs going out at level 1. So a lot of sometimes Shadow Fiend isn't depending on those cogs for a lane advantage, but more than likely I think that's what Geek Fam will pull out. They just want to dominate that Storm early on. Boom does go into the PA. That's a really unorthodox last pick. We've seen it once, didn't pay off, but in this specific lineup, it's still going to be a challenge. Like, you're picking the PA into Phantom, have to find a right one when it comes down to that kind of fight. And if you're isolated by something like the Clockwork, you kind of struggle to get out. Like, once you commit your blink, the Clockwork pre-assault will kind of slow you down there.
I agree. I don't really mind too much in this lineup, right? Because if you have a lot of illusions, PA doesn't mind going to SF. It's basically once the PA gets to the point where she has a BKB up, is when she really becomes that powerhouse in this game, right? Before that BKB, it seems like she's just a sitting duck the whole time. So, I don't know, it's definitely going to provide some interesting results. I have to ask you, John, overall, looking at these two drafts, who do you think you prefer?
I think I'd actually say I prefer Geek Fams. I think Raven's going to have a good time as Phantom Lancer. There's not too much to punish him for that. Puck should be able to pretty fine as well. I mean, you have to worry about Boom Esports Storm Spirit. It's going to have very easy, mainly because there's no solid stuns from Geek Fam. They've got the Clockwork with a Battery Assault and the Cogs, and the Snapfire with a Cookie, but those aren't reliable enough to keep something like the Storm. You're going to be trying to force him in that Dream Coil for the part. Pretty not always going to. Mikato should be able to zip in and out, but I think as long as Geek Fam hits their typings, as long as they manage to negate the effect of Dreamo Cell, not give him enough space to farm, Geek Fam's going to have enough going for themselves that might not be an issue, Mikato.
Well, I'm very, very excited about this match between these two. Playing around, they just get to work. Should be a lot of fun. Of course, we talked about it earlier on. There is still a lot riding on this. Geek Fam to try and offer a huge themselves. I believe if Boom do win, they will actually take over that winner bracket spot from RR. So there is that as well.
You definitely want to start up there. You want to give yourself some with how the game goes. A bit of a back and forth response, but that's fine. It is important for both sides. If Geek Fam do lose out, there's a possibility that in the waiting of the results, that look better. I'm not sure how that waiting does go. You really just want to secure yourself a good spot. Very important for both teams to just win out here.
We are gonna have the first game of this best of 3 series of the. Let's make it a good one. How effective this song.
The battle begins.
No fight over this spot bounty. They'll just take it. Two trade on the bounties. Very even start. Neither side really wishing to get too aggressive. But we, unless we do early rotation, KS2, still stay up. We had not even. I was not sure what he's going to get done.
It really is. I mean, it feels like he's just taking way too much away from Raven from his raw right clicks. Not even a Nether Blast being spammed. That is forcing Raven and Whitemon to play a bit more passively. This could end up being pretty... GEEK can leverage onto that once he has his Boris refresh.
And there they are. Frame up. And you have the level 2 balls. That's when it gets really dangerous. Because speaking of dangerous, mid lane, Carl and Makoto both on very low HP right now. Before the lane began, and it does give him that nice presence in the lane. So far, Makoto is doing very.
Sales?
Seeing the storm die, there are ways for Carl to
that Dyer's courier has been slain.
That's a bit of a tall order.
Damn, that ball lane is
Turned your blade.
He really shouldn't be tying like that. Like, he should have the advantage in this lane, at least for now. But now Makoto will be out leveling him. And the sooner Makoto next time, the sooner on Carl. And once the season is on, basically he can do to get away. To make it a two very early on. Was able to pick up the Snapfire.
Just a lot of damage out from that lane. Snapfire is not the hero, and there's not much you can expect your Phantom Lancer to do to help you out there. There's no opportunities to kind of. They're just really.
He went in again, being very aggressive. That is the way to play this. And Makoto, he's going to hit a very early level. He's rotated Soka XP on the park. That's not going to go down Makoto. He's away.
Storm at the, you know, have the jungle to catch up with, but you don't want to be dipping there. Should have stronger laning presence. Carl cannot afford to try to go for this aggressive. Focus on his last hits, farm, clear out the waves, build up for yourself.
Missing middle.
Well, he really is going to have to start going to that jungle first. That's going, Carl. Don't know about this lane anymore. Boom ID is essentially just, Boom Esports is essentially every lane right now, by the way, John. Like top lane FBZ having a great old time. Raven's not able to keep up in terms of farm. You look at the PA, Dream is also a free lane on the PA, just perfectly fine. And as we know, the mid lane is going very well, though FBZ is now getting dived on by Raven. Doppelganger going to be there, but Nether Blast to follow by Hyde. They are not going to be able to finish off this Beastmaster. In fact, Hyde is going to keep going by himself, but he is finally forced back by Raven. Still, Boom look to be very, very aggressive.
It's really just how they run their draft. I think this is really how the way you go lineup. You want to take over early on. You want to be able to shove those towers out. Has been setting themselves up quite nice. They've got a 3k net worth lead at less than 6 minutes in. This is a really big win for Boom very early on.
That's huge. Like, how often is it, John, you see a 3k net worth lead at 5.5 minutes?
Not often. Not
Never
often.
happens. Well, now Cuckoo gonna try and harass Dreamcell out a bit. Yeah, hit that level 5 mark on the clockwork, so you have a lot of damage. Dreamcell almost falls. Cuckoo will happily go back to the lane and keep up. And we are actually going to see some rotations. Carl, he's hit level 5, level 3 races are up. He's going to fight Kesku. Kesku tries to go for the stop, but Carl will be able to pick up a very easy kill for himself. And it's straight back into the mid lane for him as he goes after Makoto, but he does have ball lightning, so the kill potential on Makoto not very longer.
But that does give. I would think that is going to set him up quite nicely. Still behind, but not as much as you'd expect anymore. Has to start considering that jungle, I believe. Zephyr is around to stack. There is stack could really and kind of dip in and escalate from that way.
High. To very aggressive here onto Whiteman. After Crepify, you just need some vision, and there's the Astral Spirit to give him that vision. And Whiteman, cookies away, still the Spirit follows high. Can you find another blast? You can, and Kes with the stop does pick up the kill. And on top of all that, they do force out a rotation from Zephyr, and that rotation leads to nothing as mid lane now. Makoto sees that rotation, looks towards Carl will manage to walk away.
It's a very precarious spot for GEEK. Really trailed behind every single core by a significant amount now. Like, take a look at that SF, 2.4k net worth at 8 minutes in, and compare that to Mikado. Mikado's at 3.2. So much more on this Storm very early on. You want to apply a bit more pressure. Cuckoo does have level 6, so perhaps they try to make a play with that hook shot.
It looks like they will.
Coming in.
Rocket play with the vision. It should be an easy kill. Zephyr is there just in case they need it. So they'll pick up the pulse bind, Order Titan once again. Nice rotation there from Cuckoo as he'll head up top now to try and help out even more because Whiteman is going down. And you know, this is one of the big problems about the Snapfire. As soon as one of the balls hits from the Beastmaster, she can't run away.
There's just nothing that allows you. That cookie, it's not a very long range jump. Always going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be even harder to sustain this lane now. FBZ does have level 6, does have a roar. It's an easy process to burn Raven down.
Crossing to Raven. Playing farm, it seems. So Carl has to be careful with the rotation coming in. The Order Titan and well, he gets stunned off. Makoto setting up here with the static remnant, and it looks like Carl actually survives now. Cuckoo! He finds a 2-man hook shot. They get Makoto with the razors, and now Kesku does also go down to Cuckoo. And man, oh man, I thought they would at least get Carl before they backed off, but the SF survives.
Really good punishment coming out from GEEK. Surprised that they Storm could have zipped forward, but he had a lot of mana. Zipped forward outside the range for the cogs. Tried to get. And Zipper for Cuckoo to get the right hook shot. Lot of value from that shot as well. Cleaning up those arrows and forward movement punished hard. So GEEK fam gonna be happy with those pickups. They are still trailing behind. Kind of equalized Mikado's lead.
In a stroke of
Carl.
Again, they make the jump. Vortex rotation coming and trying to help him out. He turns around with the faces and Kesku's falling low already. Carl, he could probably try for that. He won't, however, but is very low in mana. And Cuckoo, he's looking for a hook. He wants the Titan. He has Rocket Flare to give him that vision, but looks like he will go farm up some neutrals instead. Perhaps assuming that Kesku is already gone, but he is sticking around. But Kesku just gonna walk out of there.
Not gonna find that kill, but in time that was all happening. Boom does to take that top, get themselves a little bit more space. They are limiting the areas where Raven can farm. He's gonna have to try to self big in that jungle. They have invested the obs wards from trying to secure that area, so they're struggling to. Nice hook.
Cuckoo gonna find high. Crepifies, but that is not going to help up against the battery assault of Cuckoo. Now they look for more as they know FBZ's around. Carl will break his smoke. They got the Dream Core with that. Primal Roar will come out to buy some time, but the Shadow Fiend will pick up pretty soon. Still can't really Requiem here. He is going to. I guess just assuming somebody else could have been ready. What? Everyone just walks out.
Wasting a couple of volts there. You're not going to have that Primal Roar for a while, but also not going to have Requiem anytime soon. So, just going to slow the pace of the game down. I think esports is perfectly this week. Take a look at Dreamocell. He just got free farm. He's building up to a Battle Fury. Not something we tend to see with PAs, but this is a very farm PA.
Sorry, I just noticed that Dyer's...
Yeah, Battle Fury up at some decent time. Should be fine, there's no Dream Coil, but you do have a hook shot from Cuckoo. Instead they ping out the bot lane, but they'll find Hyde trying to force in this T1 tower. Raven will be the one to defend, get that farm up himself on the PL.
Doesn't have that. The wards were expired and dewarded anyway. Watch vision left here. Boom does have the option of sending Hawks, or your own jungle's not that safe. At the very least, he has a tier 1 bot for some backup in case. Probably the safest spot. Raven to farm some free farm.
Keep them to smoke up. They know exactly where he is. Or vision, raises there, as well. He's been seized.
Dyer's top tower is under attack. Must I repeat myself?
Now boom, they want to fight. Down the quid. It looks like he will end up dropping. Cuckoo will be the one to pick it up on the clockwork. A very messy team fight. Green himself just blinked right into the Requiem. You couldn't have asked for a worse time.
Not quite the engagement Boom was looking for. They didn't even find the kill on that Snapfire. White one got denied by the creeps. No, he might find Cuckoo.
Okay, well that's a nice kill.
Radiant structures.
Cuckoo will drop on the clock.
There appears to be some sort of Dyer's top tower.
And they are going to capitalize on this. So go after a T2 top tower, FBZ, he's got the neck, you've got Boars, you've got a Helmet of Dominance, and you've got Hyde.
Development. Dyer's top
You know, no matter how many times the Beastmaster dies, if he could just keep finding objectives like this every time there's a slight opening, you're not going to care what his KDA looks like.
Definitely not. They're still find what they want off the map. I'd say Dreamocell's someone who needs to tone it down a notch. He doesn't need to win these fights. He can take these fights without him. Doesn't do enough damage with just level 1 Gra. Gonna need that Battle Fury up and level 2 on the ult, where you can really start pumping it out, even on not can be. So just use that space they're giving you. No need to join. Don't feel pressured. Boom Esports give a lot more space. Does take some investments for the PA to come online. But they're only 2 parts away from Battle Fury, so wait it out.
I'll take that.
Barriers are going to spawn, it looks like. Boom should be able to get the advantage on those boats. There are still 2 left on their side of the map. He will just go ahead and farm up the left side jungle. It's another one of the real positives about having a Beastmaster in your team, John. You tend to get a lot of out of it. And I mean, you look at FBZ's net worth, like, he's just sitting at the top of the net worth, and he pretty much has been the whole game.
Yep, he's just been solidly and tested in that top lane. Nothing really to shove him out. He's been multiplying a lot onto Raven, working that net worth. into items to help his team. He's working towards a pipe next to just mitigate some of that damage coming out GEEK and to perhaps prolong the life of his creeps and
Tower is attacked like no
That hook shot was straight at him as the TP did complete.
Oh, on the edge, trying to maximize that greed there.
Just not enough time. You know, if I may, John, this is my this is where I get a bit confused about position 3 clock works. Like, you look at Cuckoo, 16.5 minutes in, he's level 9, his net worth is position 4 partner by about 600 gold. And he has been roaming, he's been trying to make plays, and he's at 4.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is being subjected to
Down after pause 1.
Lane, they really want those Base Master units, and well, they'll get the Dream Comet Zephyr, he melts. He got a lot of creeps out. In fact, you know, considering that him and the SF did manage to clear out the Beastmaster balls and everything else, really, I don't know if you'd call that a bad trade for it.
I'd say even. Even to trade your life away for that you thing me.
Well, Cuckoo stunned up with the Primal Roar. Batteries not going, but they do get the Sentinel Stomp off as well. Where's the follow-up though? Astral Spirit comes in with the Stun Catch 2, and now the Earths are flying through. This is going to be bad. Cuckoo goes down. Go with the SF, but Whiteman, where are you running, sir? He will actually be allowed to get away. Boom are only interested in this T1 mid tower.
Just really nice cleaning up there from Boom, just punching a slight overextension. It wasn't even a very bad overextension from Cuckoo, but his positioning is punished hard. His SF is punished for standing alongside him. And just like that, what looked like a bit of a wonky trade for Boom earlier on, they managed to find the bigger kills anyway, negating that loss of creeps. Couldn't be happy about that, although Raven comes in and reveals his defeat.
He gets high, or should get high. It does. Nice little pick up there on possible. But the net worth lead just keeps going up for Boom. Like, they're at 7k now, and it hasn't really budged. In fact, make it 8k. It's just been going up and up for this Radiant side. And, I mean, it's nice and all that Radiant's got the defusal up, but you look over at the PA Dream Assault, he's got the full Battle Fury, and looks like he's just one Mithril Hammer away from having the Deso up.
It's gonna be big. That's a huge power spike for the that a lot. Battle Fury just accelerates your form, but the real damage starts to come in when you have that Desolator. Are flying at least one Mithril Hammer out, so he's doing a little bit more damage there. That flexibility for himself as wants to.
They are fighting. Green Call gonna be there onto FPT, but he is so tanky with that pipe. Those kisses that Green Call did nothing, and now Hookshot, who they're going after. It's gonna be Ken's but he got his ultimate out anyway. It's already there. And FBZ, he's out of mana. This is the problem. You can't get the roar off, and they will actually find that huge Beastmaster kill. And Boom ID perhaps have overextended as FBZ just did not lead. And with that GEEK fan, they really shouldn't have got anything, but they do end up getting a +3 Beastmaster.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold going the way of GEEK fam. Gonna be very bad kill. FBZ punished for some far forward position. There, again, you look at Boom Esports this time around. Dreamcell is pretty good, but this is not the fighting state for the PA, as like the Phantom Lancer with just the defeat isn't the fighting state for that. You need the Desolator to be up and running on Dreamcell first, and it's still 2 parts away. Not too long, but need some patience here for force out those big fights. This could be an opportunity though, as the kisses were expanded earlier. They're gonna have to be conscious about Carl perhaps TPing, but nowhere near right now. He's gonna have to channel that TP.
Even with the Deso, like I think you still need the BKB. It just, I don't know if he's lacking damage. Like he's got the Implore as well done on the PA. So if you get lucky enough, you can crit on the crit, and that's a bit of a ridiculous item for a PA. Even with the dagger, she gets the Implore active going, which is nice. 300 damage dagger, never hurts. But I think you just wait for that BKB on Dream Missile as well. Like it's just
priorities. Because he's got both queued up. It does feel like he's going to be opting for the Desolator first, which can work as long as you manage to get the initiation first. You get the first jump, force actions out, have have FBZ maybe cop all the spells, can come in, clean up just nice. Although I do agree, I think the safer bet is a BKB. But it really depends. Dream Assault, I just have a feeling he's going to go for the Desolator, playing with that.
No, he'll go for the Deathstar. I'm not doubting that. I just don't think he should fight when he gets to Deathstar. Maybe he... I mean, they probably will. It looks like they're going to try and force a Roshan. They're going to stop, because the rocket plate does give plenty of vision for GEEK Fan. Interestingly enough, Cuckoo on the Clockwork went for the urn, but opts to actually go after a Blade Mail after that, so he's not really interested in the Spirit Vessel yet. I suppose
smoke under a flare.
Oh, that's a problem. I believe there was an observable there as well. It didn't catch it, but yeah, the flare. Oh, maybe they did it? Cuckoo?
Strange. I saw the flare after effects that still had vision. Though, maybe it came after the smoke. Big possibility.
But Zephyr doesn't quite get a nice phase shift coming out from the puck. And, there's going to be a buyback. They want to try and snipe this Roshan attempt. Not really in time. Rocket Bear comes in, it gives vision, but it only gives vision of a Roshan that isn't there anymore. Now they will try and start the fight. FBZ is getting taken down. His mana pool is very, very low. The Green Core, Tether is going to be snapping Makoto, jumps in on the SF. They'll get the Beastmaster. Can they find Carl? Who'll do pop? But that Gremlin is going to be able to secure the kill with Raven. Going to go after Hyde, and he will find that kill, but it was not worth him dying. He's trying to fight back, but it looks really bad. Makoto is running out of mana, however, and he can't actually get the hit off Raven. He's been finally slowed down, but can you kill off his PL? Dagger will be dodged. Pistol still chasing. Making sure crit forward. Does get the crit in the end, but he can't afford to die like this. A nice cooking from Whiteman. Makoto's still going to be there to help out. They will put the Cuckoo. Minigun underneath the tree. Makoto is it forward with Cuckoo. I'll take your life. No worries. GEEK Fan, just a lot of misplays in that team fight.
Definitely. It doesn't work out their way. They bought back a bit too late on Cuckoo. It's out and trying to deny that Roche. All falls apart. They lose some pretty big targets. Well, you are starting to see the effects of Dreamo Cell kick in. Like, the Desolator is up. He actually skips the BKB in terms of his itemization, going for the tags next for the Blur.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Three series between GEEK Fam and Boom Esports. It is an LP DOTA. John expired. John, game one Boom Esports, and they look darn strong. I mean, that was just such a dominant victory. Gotta ask you though, where's GEEK Fam going wrong?
Well, GEEK Fam just couldn't get the farm up on their own course. They were playing into the aggression of Boom very badly. They couldn't match the pace. The entire pace of the game was set by Boom the entire time. I think GEEK Fam have to shake up their draft. They've got to change their game plan here. They have to be able to match Boom Esports movements and collapse onto them even stronger. I do believe they have the coordination to get that done. They just didn't have the right heroes for it. The Ravens PL could not find its farm. Its laning was just so troublesome up against the Beast. Pugna. So many ways of them to push that PL back without finding farm. You've got to think of ways to really go into these matchups a bit stronger. Otherwise, you're just going to lose out in every single lane. Boom Esports did that with a PH. We don't think is particularly strong, but it came online fast. It didn't need a BKB. It just melted everyone in the backline.
It did. And you know what? I think we're looking at the ban phase right now, John. I think GEEK Fam, in all honesty, they need to get rid of that Beastmaster. They need to get rid of it. FBZ had too good of a game. He was top net worth the whole time. There's not many POS 1s right now that deal well with the Beastmaster. And I really think you've got to focus on FBZ if you want to try and really focus on winning this game. However, for now they haven't. There's only one ban left. And honestly, if they don't do it, I think Boom are well within their right to just go ahead and first pick it.
A solid pick. Like, nothing can deal with it for the most part. Really strong to have. It fits into a push lineup. It fits into a team fighting lineup quite nicely. There's so much value from that kind of pick that should be a priority ban, but I'm not sure GEEK Fam's gonna go for it. They do ban out much more traditional heroes. The Phoenix ban out isn't too surprising. That's something we constantly banned out. We aren't seeing the Spirits banned out. Once more, that's gonna be an option for.
It's weird seeing those spirits not being removed. It is very strange. We've been seeing it so often that doesn't make much sense. But we do see the Pugna ban coming out from Boom Esports, so they don't want to see it. They don't want to play it. They've had enough of that hero. And GEEK Fam will get rid of the Tusk, which is a very potent POS 4 in this new meta, at least for the moment. Boom Esports, however. How do you start off the draft? Do you want to go back into the Beast? No. They do pick up the Ember Spirit, which was banned in the first game, and I guess fair enough. It's a really nice pick.
It's a super strong pick. There is a reason why we see that hero banned out a lot. I'd say I'm surprised it's coming out so early, though. It's a very early pick for the Ember. A lot of heroes you can really pick up for that. In fact, GEEK Fam could go for their own Spirit. They could go for that Ember Spirit up against Storm Spirit we saw a lot of. They could go for the Void Spirit themselves. They could try to sneak Nyx Assassin in to try to punish that AoE damage the Ember out. Have a lot of options here. Even the Conka could be something.
Radiant team pick.
Does look that Ember in its place. Instead, GEEK Fam will go for the Keeper of the Light. Very popular here, as we have seen. Gives you great team fight potential with that Will-O-Wisp. Did get some adjustments though early on. Gyrocopter's there as well. And Boom looking a bit stronger in my opinion. Shaker just gives a lot more value.
What?
Gyrocopter we've seen once. Still not a fan.
How could they not look stronger, John? Their opponents have gone for a second pick Gyrocopter. It's I don't know what it is with this hero. I don't know what teams are seeing that we are. Like, we're casting another league right now. Gyrocopter has 20% win rate in that league. I don't know what its win rate is in the pro scene. I'm not sure if you can get those now. I'm sure it's not very good. It just, at the very least, every time it loses. Every single time without doubt. This time, I don't know if they'll be allowed to have the IO to match up with that gyrocopter. It looks like Boom do get rid of it, so they make it a lot harder now for that gyro to get the work done. And I must also add, in this new patch that just came out today, Keeper of the Light did get a significant nerf.
Yeah.
The Blinding Light, its cooldown, I believe, was set quite a bit higher, so it's really not as spammable as it used to be in the laning phase.
Dire team.
It's certainly not as easy to get a lot of value from that hero anymore. It's still pretty potent, you just have to really readjust yourself to that one. Still Geek Fam, they go into the Rubik next. A lot of good spells to steal at the very least. The Shaker Fissure is going to be big. I'm not seeing the direct synergy with that Gyrocopter and the Keeper of the Light. It's not the most synergistic sort of combination. I suppose Will-O-Wisp with the Gyrocopter's kit is pretty good in team fights. Beyond that, you're going to be looking for a lot more setup, a lot more of a lot more boom coming out from Geek. And it's certainly not there yet.
Well, it is a Zephyr Rubik, John. Let's not forget, this man does tend to make magic happen on this hero. So, we're gonna... I'm not seeing the Zephyr. Anytime I see Fan pick a Rubik, I know we're in for a lot of... solo carry the support Rubik. So that does bring me a lot more confidence in the draft now. I do feel a lot better looking at what Geek Fan is doing. Boom Esports, they will respond with a Grimstroke now. Pretty standard stuff, nothing too surprising there. Obviously, very synergistic with the Ember Spirit, John, just keeping them together in that Soul Bind. It's very easy to get a double chains going, just because they're right next to each other, and very popular. The way clear of the
10 seconds.
Grimstroke is very, very strong.
I think the basic combination as well of having the Grimstroke toss that Inkswell onto the Ember is pretty potent. That's something to watch out for. Of course, Boom has to be careful about giving away something like the Soul Bind towards a... That's a fairly easy spell for the Rubik to steal. And we know Zephyr is a top tier Rubik, so something Geek Boom has to keep in mind. I am keen to see what exactly they're trying to go for as a direct combination. Tend to see something that builds off of that Soul Bind when you have that Grimstroke. Beastmaster is still in the pool. You could potentially see the effect of the double roar here.
Of course, there will be a Centaur Warrior now, so Geek Fan, they do have a very, very potent offlane in that Rubik Centaur that we've well. Boom Esports still yet to reveal their own offlane pick, and like I mentioned, Beastmaster is there if they want to go down that route. It may not be a safe pick. You did just say, yeah, Prime Roll is pretty like, it's not hard. It has a very kind of long animation, and there's a bit of a delay afterwards before you can really cast your next ability. So you don't really want to give that away to the side of Geek Fan, but that's assuming you don't just get Zephyr first anyway, you know, in a team fight. Like, only time will tell.
It puts a lot of pressure on the Rubik, because it really look like Geek Fam is relying on Zephyr to set up here. Beyond just the Will-O-Wisp from the Keeper, a lot of that control is either coming from the Rubik or the Centaur, and the Centaur only really has to stomp, so you're going to be looking for a lot more from this Rubik. Boom does go with the Mars instead, not the most energetic with the Grimstroke, but does work out with everything else Boom Esports has. With the Ember Spirit, with that Earthshaker, you know, you're going to be clumping them up in a fairly tight area, and that's where a lot of these heroes shine, so you are seeing all of that come together for Boom Esports. Of course, I have to point out, Boom is going for a very special strat here. They're going for the... So it's working out quite well for them. Their banners are red, they're on the Dire side, their heroes are red. It's looking pretty darn...
You're stretching it a little bit by... Like, he's got a bit of red.
His hat is red, his outfit's red. He's a red hero. He's blue inside, but he's red outside. That's what matters. Outer appearance is red.
Thank you for that, John. We'll see if they continue the trend as Geek Fan. They do have one more ban left before we get into the next ban. And then Geek Fan, they do get rid of the Riki. Very annoying hero. And You know, we have seen quite a bit of Ricky up against gyrocopters pretty much every time it's been picked up. And to do quite well up against the gyro, because it's just such a immobile hero that it's just so jump back out.
Team pick.
And boom, of course, they get rid of the quap. Unsurprising.
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, solid. Okay, I have a couple of things.
Okay.
Lycan, very strong hero, great push. Does give Boom Esports. Don't really have the best push right now. Red. That's all that needs to be said. It's red. Red.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh, love it.
Thank you, deep analysis as always, John. Are they paying you for this?
Yes, they are.
Well,
I can say it. I have no NDA. Oh man.
GEEK fan.
I mean, great pick, right? Like the Lycan, it's gonna melt these towers. You are picking it into a gyro who can flat cannon or summons, I suppose. It doesn't feel like a pertinent issue. The Lycan still can be online before the gyrocopter is, for the most part. I don't see it losing out in any lane. This does kind of cancel out. Cam's trying to do with their own team fight sitting here. We're gonna have to pick something that will deal with Lycan. Say mid, kind of keep still, help you clear out those waves as well. That's something to look at. Plays with that keeper of the light and the gyrocopter quite quickly. Can last pick that.
They're waiting. GEEK fan, looking to finish this from
Choose your hero.
Monkey King it is. They need the early game presence. Can't disagree with the Monkey King pick. They do have the tools available to deal with Lycan, right? You've got the coddle, you've got you can still stroke a fate, which is very effective against the Lycan. You've also got now a Monkey King who can just fight head on. Overall, two very interesting drafts. Those drafts, John. We're on game number 2. Who do you think does have the better looking?
Better looking Boom Esports because of the red.
Who has the better
playability? Boom Esports.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
for me. I think it's going to be easier for them to hit their tanks. I think for to have their draft work, they're going to need to get beast farm on their gyrocopters. They need to give Carl some good space as well. They've got to find that midway. They have 2 mid-game items. Start fight. Time here because Boom will melt their towers. This is just something that Boom is. Your objectives fast, so you have to find a midway point. Get initial going. Once you're comfy enough, once you have the levels to burst them down, start fighting. Start forcing Boom, forcing them to compromise themselves with their overextension. Boom can and is prone to overextending. That you see here.
We'll see how all that does pan out. Be nice.
You really should prepare for
Of
battle.
course, hoping for us, John. We always want to want more Dota. We'd rather not just quickly, but can't control. We'll have to see how GEEK can perform. Up on the screen, John, you probably can't see them yourself, but Boom Esports are the favourites. It's not because of the colour of their heroes, John. It is simply because and are looking to be the favourites in this matchup.
It's looking pretty darn good so far. Really on to GEEK fan. GEEK fan has to step it up. They've got a lineup that can deal with Boom. It is, I'd say it's harder for them to deal with it, but it's certainly a possibility. They've got to play to their strengths here. To come out stronger in their lanes. That's a really big part of it. You cannot be far behind on the gyrocopter because you're going to invest a lot of time playing
I need my calculator for this.
will just run you down. So you ensure that Raven has a good time compared to game 1, and I think that'll correct a lot of the issues.
And Zephyr, that's not good. Well, they know that there's a ward there now, so you've got Zephyr actually pings perfect. So he does take a bit of damage from the tier 1, but you're taking off because you know exactly where the Dire Ward is and you can take it out immediately. A fight over the zone 9. Really sitting up here onto Raven, but FBZ, he's falling quite low. Rocket Barrage comes out, FBZ still falling low, but not long. The turnaround off Whiteman now. Kescute, he's the only man left. Zephyr will turn around and continue harassing. They're just not going to back off. Boom is very angry this game. Nice stroke of fate connecting onto it. Just block them away from it. I mean, that's just genius. That is really clever. And Zephyr has to come in and take some creeps away. Raven, he only misses out on one range creep. It's not the biggest deal, but nice little play there from Kescute.
But it's these tiny plays, that you get in a game like Dota 2 that really brings you ahead. So, boom, look to keep a tri lane here to face up against Geek Fam's own tri lane, although you do see movement from Zephyr now.
Well, he knows where the ward is, so I think he just wants to get the D ward off, but he doesn't have a sentry yet. You're not really going to put a ward down now. I mean, if he puts a ward down, that would be terrible, though. Yeah, he's going to go for the courier snipe. He's going to find it, that's huge. Great play from Zephyr. DOTA, he brought his self out, so at least he has that, but after that, if Carl work his magic, Makoto should have a very rough time.
And this should be a pretty decent lane for Carl. Like, definitely does favor that has the slight range advantage, has this ability and capability of just staying in that lane by shooting right clicks.
Okay. Although nice speed onto Raven, Ink's from behind, he's going to go after Wyman, but he does, it'll be a 1-for-1 on supports. This bot lane is getting messier and messier.
I mean, that's what happens when you stack 6 heroes down there, although, once more, you do see Zephyr switch out. So he's going to be up top now, and go and will be dual solo. You see Kescute slowly walking back, so they just want to keep that pressure onto Raven, but that is going to cost them that, which Hall is fending off blown.
Somewhat. Like, Cuckoo is still freely farming Zephyr. He's going to make his way in. I think the idea is, like, just trying to stem the bleeding that is going to be disliked in 10-15 minutes.
It is with grave emotion that I report the death of Dire's courier.
So, Dreamercell's courier does go down Zephyr and really focus his couriers as much as he can. Will even get the creep pool away. Dreamercell's life just a little bit harder. Well, middle. Young Carl with the belt finishing off the Ember. I guess at least it gives him a bit of a reset as he did use that earlier on. That will give Carl a huge advantage in that mid lane, however.
He's already significantly ahead in terms of last hits. In very stark contrast to game. This should give Geek Fam a nice timing here. It could allow Carl to be much more active earlier on, and that's what they're going to need. Come out from Boom.
Carl has just complete control. Should really stay that way. I can't imagine it gets any worse for him, though. Whiteman, bot lane, is going to get ganged up high. He went for the auto attack and doesn't connect with the Ink's fault. No.
But they did have Raven coming in. I think that's what helped hide up. That back immediately doesn't want to try risking at Rocket Barrage. A lot of pain there.
He's still getting FBZ a lot of farm on the Mars anyway, right? Like, he's still having a great old time. I don't think it's going to really be concerned as to whether the Coral's dead or not. Mid lane. GB Master. Croft. Aiden ends up fighting Hyde on the Grimstroke, so Hyde just completely out of position. Raven was enough to finish the job off.
again, just managing to really bully that out. I think Hyde was playing far forward. Doesn't have too much regen left on him, so he just wanted to reset. Does get it. Does cost him a bit, but GEEK very happy with his kind of start. 3-1 already, 2k. On top of that, stark contrast to game 1. And to find a lot more lanes, and Boom is just not managing to maximize that farm as we saw them.
It's going to be a real slow kind of game for Boom if they can't help out Makoto in this mid. Like, he's now been complete. One full level ahead. Just every time he comes forward, he just gets 3 stats based on him. Carl will keep those on him and make sure Makoto just doesn't feel safe to even approach him.
It's not a fun time for Makoto. Really just not going to be finding too much farm here. Gonna have to accept that Carl is just going to be nothing they can do unless they top support rotation. Still runs the risk with just how much Carl has in terms of raw power right now. Could run the risk of actually to gank the Monkey King has kind of slipped. I believe Boom now has to just focus on her side lanes, try to give Dream. He's not really struggling, but he's not shining against Kook. It's at 42-12. So it's 20. That's still better than our Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter's at 18-5, so Raven's not having the best of times as well. But FBZ's not winning as much as Cuckoo is. So that's going to be a major factor for GEEK fam. That should play into their favor. And that could mean that Cuckoo is going to be much more active on map a bit earlier on than you'd expect.
I mean, you can't forget, like last game around, Cuckoo playing a upholstery clock, which, you know, arguably just doesn't scale as something like a Centaur, which, in my opinion, just scales really well. Just becomes infinitely tankier and is pretty much always effective. With this much farm on Cuckoo, he should be in a much better position. Grimace so much. Grimace was in fact almost only half the CS. That's kind of insane.
It's really big difference from laning presence that GEEK fam has is much more effective. That's definitely one of the changes. Just need to maintain this. The fact that Coral has ports have a lot more leeway on the side lanes. Want to Raven though. Like, yeah, Yakuku winning hard. Raven is lagging behind. It means that could potentially see the Gyrocopter take his time as he entered. He's not going to be around to drop that call down. He's probably just going to be farming up for a while until he gets 1 or 2 items up. That could give Boom Esports a bit of a window. Try to take those objectives we talked about.
Well, he's still going to be paused up. Dreamer Cell just still having some issues. Oh, thank you, Mr. Adam. 8 minutes pause time left apparently. I guess after that, whether GEEK fam are willing to share pause time. So you wouldn't blame them for not. This is war after all. Are we gonna see a Spirit Vessel this game, I wonder? Like, we still haven't seen one all day. We went from seeing...
I think in this case, you probably won't. I don't think there's enough, like, regen-dependent heroes here to really need that. Like, could make an argument for the Mars. I don't think the Spirit Vessel is going to do too much when there's no one really healing up. You just have to be able to jump him from a different area. Beyond that, I don't think it's going to be too... Maybe for, like, the Monkey King, could consider actually building into it fairly quickly, though, unless you're going to be looking at building a fast burn. That's an option. I've seen spirits go from urn to the third vessel. Fall back to if they really just want to deal with Carl, who can be a nuisance, can last a lot long, but don't see any from Boom. I guess the regen on the but becomes a bit less of a factor as the game goes on, as your damage goes up. Like, it's nothing obnoxious like having an Oracle around with False Promise, so you feel pressure here to build into that.
Shout out to my wife from Cuckoo.
Let's shake things up.
Didn't know Cuckoo was. He loves her. That is fantastic, Cuckoo. Shout out to Cuckoo's wife.
Yeah. Just,
Never be ashamed to admit love. How's your wife going, John?
It's all right. We're fine. Perfectly fine. I don't want to really know, don't ask. Okay?
Let's shake
Not a
things
happy
up.
situation. Still filing the papers in court. Oh, 5 minutes left.
Don't be having all time a ticking. You'd hate to see a game end with these kind of this kind of reasoning, but rules are rules.
They are. Hopefully.
Speaking of rules, shout out to PPD, by the way, in case you were.
Oh, for sure.
And a fantastic person. John. Have I mentioned, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, you have. I mean, it's the persona I think that a lot of people misconstrue. But I think he's a salt. He means well.
He does. It's gonna be a real shame not seeing him in the scene. Oh, he'll still be around though for sure. Like, I imagine he'll probably start casting. Be an analyst, jump on the panels and things like that. We'll still get our yearly dose of salt, I'm sure.
Not the same without salt. Gotta have that flavor.
Absolutely. You know what I found out the other day, by the way, John? And I don't know if this is a similar thing in the Philippines. Do you guys have chicken salt?
What?
Chicken salt.
Is that salt from... What is that? Describe it to me first. Maybe we'll call it something more civilized.
It's just chicken flavored salt. Like, not actual chicken. It's like...
Chicken?
It's a it doesn't taste like exactly like chicken. It's just a flavoring, right, on normal salt, and we in Australia call it chicken salt.
Chicken salt? We don't have chicken salt. We do have something. A lot of fellow Filipinos in chat would support me with nor magic syrup. We have that. Y'all don't have that. Magic flavor crystals. We don't know what it is. We toss it everywhere. But it's not quite chicken salt. I'm really not sure what chicken salt is. It sounds... I think it might be the same as what I'm talking about. Maybe. Although those are more of granules. Is it really literally just rock salt with flavoring?
I mean, it's not rock salt. It's basically like table salt, but... I can't believe... the reason why I bring this up, because I realized the other day I saw a tweet, and apparently Americans don't have it.
Let's shake things up.
What's that? I just can't imagine. That sounds fantastic then. I can't say we have that. Definitely don't have that. We do have magic syrup. That's what we have. I can't explain it to you. It's just magic flavoring you toss everywhere. It's actually pretty funny. There was this one video where some forward was asking like a guy on the street who roast chicken, right? Oh, there's lemongrass here to salt. What else is in there? The guy's like, oh yeah, salt. Just says nonchalantly magic syrup. It's like admitting that you're using a pre-made curry in a restaurant, But we do it's part of our culture now.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't be an MLP to join Spy cast without some mukbang casting, John. To get the mukbang casting out. What does that mean? Oh, John, you can't just laugh at every joke and not tell me what's going on.
Just calling everyone tits. Oh.
What? Is it
I
inappropriate?
don't know how to translate that.
Alright, well, if it's inappropriate, just don't say it. What does that mean? Is this inappropriate?
It's hello. I see. This is one thing. I'm just not very good in explaining Filipino, but it's man, that's really hard to actually translate. Straight up, it just sounds like "hello, fellow tits." That doesn't sound funny in itself, but a lot funnier in my head. Not that funny. Laugh at everything.
Okay. Thank you for that, John.
Spike. Yeah, you tell them, Cuckoo.
Get him, Cuckoo.
I don't know.
Weapons on his own team, by the way. It's not like he's trash talking the other team or anything.
Yeah, cause that's Katita is like white. It's just so random. What made it funny was that freaking white one. More of him. Well, it makes sense enough, but it also really.
Okay. Well, Cuckoo's now asking the questions. And he's taking over the admin. Oh, Cuckoo the nice guy. Wow. Ship from Cuckoo. Give him the tip.
Oh.
First, he tells his wife he loves her in a professional match, and now offering pause time. Nice guy, Cuckoo.
Very nice guy. Southeast Asia. That's how we do it.
Just in time. We do have the reconnection before the time ran out. Apparently the power went out for Dream Missile, but now the power is back on, and we will get back to it. So where were we? Dream Missile, he was struggling a little bit in lane up against Cuckoo on the Centaur. And I mean, basically the similar thing was happening down at the bot lane. In fact, it's even worse for Raven on the gyrocopter. Still, Carl's having a fantastic time. He's even found himself a double damage room now on the Monkey King, so... I mean, you look at Makoto on the Ember, he's just gone to jungle, he's had enough.
Really not much for him to do. Gonna have to give it up. It's gonna have to soak some... Very precarious place to soak it. Carl can just run up and...
It's gonna be a really slow process for Makoto though. He's gonna keep you back mid, but like Carl's level 7 now. In comparison to the level 5 of the Ember. Not gonna find the siege creep either. Ping's coming out onto FBZ from Raven. Well, FBZ hasn't hit that level 6 yet, so we do have somewhat of an opening to try and take down this Mars. Raven's probably just giving his team the heads up. Hey, I'm struggling against this guy. Let's get a gank going.
Overall, though, fan is still gonna be happy with the state. Look at Carl hunting that. Does this, but the pressure is on the cutter. He just can't stand that lane. And, you know, they've got a nice lead. 3K now at 7.5 minutes in. Very good compared to game 1. Is setting themselves up to that kind of playstyle Boom wants to bring out. We're gonna have to really find a way to apply that pressure. Base for the Lightning, to be fair, Boom have transitioned Dream into the jungle, finishing up that Helm of the Dominator in about 300. So that's when the Lycan can really start to come online, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough with kind of net worth deficit.
Regeneration.
A lot of stacks going out here from what I'm just setting up those ancients for the gyrocopter later on. Raven. you know, not really falling far behind. Like in terms of both, he's still far ahead of the line. In fact, they are going for an attempt now onto FBZ.
Dire's top tower is under
Raven's
attack.
got the call down, ready to go. FBZ going to go to the TP. They will have no way to counter that and will get out successfully.
Tower is under attack.
Just on the edge.
Dire's
Did keep
structures
a
are
bit later,
fortified.
they might have found the rocket might have. Does go away, does waste some time.
Dire's
Still gets
top
whacked.
tower is being
Couldn't
attacked
do-
like nobody's business. Dire's top
They're
tower.
not taking control over this game though. I mean, it's down the top. There's going to be no trade for Boom. They aren't going to be able to find the bottom tier one for quite a bit of time. We do see the rotation back down bot by FBZ. Hyde is there, but it's not like they're going to siege that to one tower. So all they can really do is hope for a kill attempt here with that Reaper of Blood. They could go for it now if we didn't range to jump Raven. It can be challenging though when you have blinding light available from one. Unless you have 4 heroes down here. In fact, they do. Bring himself on the spear, knocking down the arena. Raven is not walk away, but a nice in-slow on that when they're chasing. But now Carl's here. They should be able to let him know. But a huge fish from rescue. It is not going to be enough. This is not safe. They need to get the hell out of there. Missile runs for his life. A homing missile will chase. Do they keep going? I don't think they can really make it. Oh, they will. Boundless strike is going to come in. So he turns around. He tries to fight like a man, but it means nothing. Boom ID just I don't know what they were trying to do there. Like kill the gyrocopter, but once that arena was messed up, they just should have left.
They missed the arena, they missed the fissure. Like they trapped Raven on the wrong side, so they're like had to walk around in the full circle. And they just missed out. A lot of small mistakes there from Boom, costing them a lot. GFAM gonna get a lot out of that. They should be able to capture this tier. Boom, maybe they try to fight this. They are close up, but I don't think they have the tools to fight now.
Dire's middle tower is under an extraordinary amount of
That
stress.
T1 is not going to be very safe. Geek fan
Or perhaps a desperate
trying to get the fortify will come out. Carl threatening the Wukong's command.
broken record.
Carl managed to finish off the T1. Boom. Worth behind. And it just looks worse and worse for them as time goes on, as they just... You don't have greatest catch-up mechanisms for Boom with this kind of draft. Like it is very, very challenging to try and catch up in terms of farm, especially up against something like a Monkey King, who can really just constantly have vision with that Primal Spring and tree bands.
Monkey King's gonna keep a constant watch on you. You can't flash farm as fast as Raven could. He's just fast in the gyrocopter with that flak, and been left alone now. He's managed to overtake all the cores on the side of
Top tower
Boom.
is under attack.
Is leading. He's the lowest value core on GeekFam side, but that's still a better spot than any.
Dire's top
Boom
tower
has
is
to be
under
able
attack.
to get the lid on one of these heroes. They've fallen behind a huge amount. 5k lead now for GeekFam at 12 minutes in. Really big there. And if it continues to bleed out like this, I don't see too many ways for Boom Esports to catch back up. They're going to have to play their cards perfectly, split push like madmen, and give DreamOCell all the space in the world to get those objectives for them.
Makoto could be in trouble. Zephyr has a haste room. Doesn't get really left off, and well, he's still there. He got the remnants. That's always nice. Shane's gonna be there on Zephyr. He's got to run it out, but he needs to use it now, and he does not get it off in time. Hyde, he had the silence. So Boom at least finds something. But you look at Makoto, he's being stalked right now. Primal Spring won't really connect anyway. Makoto has a remnant, he feels safe. Won't even need to use it.
While this game does slow down, GeekFam just farms. Raven clears out that massive stack that Whitemon has been working on for a while. That's a huge gold injection into our gyrocopter, building up towards his axe. Once that's up, the farm accelerates. The presence in team fights is much greater. It's more to try to kill him off with the added stats. And you can't say the same about DreamOCell. This farm has just been trailing behind at a consistent rate. Every single hero on Boom just cannot find that flash farm they need.
Kodo, found the strike, not coming out, Carl. Assuming he may have, but now it does come out. Won't be enough, of course. Boom, they've got to make some kind of play with this draft. I just don't know what it is. They don't flash farm as fast as the gyrocopter. Top 3 net worths are the side of Geek Fam though, so there's no real way. They just feel trapped. Like, what do you do in this situation?
Has that ever been cause for celebration?
Needs to have their Mars in front, although FB's instead.
Yeah, he's surrounded by smoke rotation, Geek Fam. Always the only thing that was going well for Boom, and Carl will pick up another kill on the Monkey King. That'll extend the net worth lead to 6k the way of Geek Fam.
Dyer's bottom structures are fortified.
It's just not slowing down, they just keep doing it.
Radiant's middle tower.
Just not much really Boom can do. They can't afford to split push. They can't afford to take fights. They need a lot more waiting for them. It looks like a reversal of game 1. Like, it's Boom. Situation Geek Fam was in. They're not dealing with it too well as well.
Dyer's bottom tower.
They really are.
Attack.
Makoto's just farming stacks. Like, he understands he needs to, or he needed to really set the tempo of the game in December pick.
Dyer's bottom.
And that is not happening. He's trying to catch up the best he can, but look at that net worth. He's at 4.5k. He's 3k behind the offlane Centaur Cuckoo. They do get an arena, so it's going to be Zephyr going down again. You know, normally you'd say that's not the... But anything is good right now.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, they're going to try out the Cuckoo. This could be huge. Inflow will connect, but do you have the damage? Will be dropping down to Wukon's command. He is stuck in the middle of all of it. He's going nowhere, and they will find one in the form of Hyde, and if these also will go down, and they just couldn't finish off the mid T1 tower while all that was happening either.
Gives a lot more to Geek Fam in this exchange. They're winning out, they're finding the fights, they are rotating quite well, and just taking every single piece that Boom could depend on away from them. Now, the only good thing to come out from that for Boom is that Dreamocel's not being bothered in his jungle, but he's farming up. The issue is, are you able to ride off the back of this Lycan? Is that going to be enough with how far behind you are? It's really looking like it's not going to be enough. They need to take some of these fights, they need to find those pickoffs, but it's all over the map. They just jump in, they counterfight, they know they can easily overwhelm whatever Boom Esports has, and Boom is just forced to retreat. Finish up that blade mail on Mikato as well. I don't think that's going to do enough. Give him a little bit more presence, but really not much more than he already has.
Radiant's bottom tower is...
I agree. They're gonna find Carl, but they're gonna try. Inkswell's gonna be out there. Carl just stands in a man fight. Jingle Rock is there, but can you burst him down? They may be able to, and they do. Oh, okay, that's not good, Carl. That is not good.
It's a lot of gold going the way of Mikado, a lot of EXP as well. It's going to be one of the bigger pickoffs they have. That swing just went down to 6k for the way of Geek Fam.
Okay, that's cute. Here on the Earthshaker and does. So they do find the support. Stampede. For what? Now without Stampede, Mikato says, "I'll go." Arena gonna be there. Zephyr, he will drop immediately. Now they've lost to fight Cuckoo. He's a bit of a tanky target, but he's worth quite a bit of gold right now. It's fall down, will fly out. They are going to be able to finish the job. Perhaps they turn on Raven, but it looks insane. But now Carl has came in, although Cuckoo getting very, very low on that Centaur. And Carl wants sweet, sweet revenge, but can he find it? He'll go after Hyde, FBZ, a nice kill on the Monkey King. Now the Inksword controlling up this monkey. They'll get a now the echo comes out. It's pretty huge from Kenskew, but is it enough? That Willow was really distracting him during the steam up in Mikato. He found Wiseman. Now they run forward. They found the gyrocopter. Raven goes down with Zephyr. He jumps in with the remnants. It at least gets Mikato, but it will cost his own life and they still want more. They want Carl on the Monkey King. He should be safe.
Structures.
But that is a huge team fight for Boom.
Very big team fight going the way of Boom. They do lose out on their Ember, but they found so many big kills. The patient coming out for Rich Shaker to wait there.
Fallen. Someone must be very
Almost gets spotted out there and taken out by FBZ. Had that spear landed, that would have been very, very bad news. And you know, that net worth lead, John, it started dipping now. They're about 7-8k. It's now down to 4. You've given a lot of gold away to that Lycan, who now has the Necro 1 book up, and it's kind of halfway to the Necro 2 book, and Mikoto especially, right? Like, he was so far behind in levels. Now he's actually out leveling in terms of XP, the Monkey King.
Really good spot for Boom. Not quite fixing all the issues they have, but if they keep taking these fights these ways, I think you're going to have a lot of success. They just need to play around their pump out. Have to land that combination. It's FBZ's back to get the arena, and the follow-up damage comes out. Of course, it would help if Kezcute had a way of closing the gap for the Echo Slam, but his first Echo wasn't bad. He just walked up, caught. That was definitely one of the tools that let them do that.
Close call, John. Is that didn't really react to the lift? It's Kezcute that gets caught. Raven commits the down. Kezcute, good shot. I question the stand. Does get a very nice look at the Hoops bomb. And keeps he actually up the room. My god. The ball.
Oh yeah. On the edge. Just get as much as possible. Really scary situation. Does go out just fine. Cam just. They did stomp. Gone for the kill. Still. Who's now? So you have a
Of course, any kill really does mean a tower right now. Anything they can find means that there might be at least one objective. Who is it they are? They'd love to get Cuckoo right now in the second one. He doesn't have Stampede, he does get Ink Swell. So Blue will save his life, but now, Buster Solar holding him into the... Meanwhile, Makoto going straight after Zephyr, and he does get him with the sleight of fist. Carl jumps in after Makoto, he throws it. Carl, you can't die like this from the arena drops. With the follow-up, and Carl is going down. That, oh John, this is really, really upsetting to see the GEEK that far ahead. I thought it's just impossible for Boom to come back. I really did.
just a small, just set slip-ups that Boom managed to feed. That giving them the turnarounds. Carl dying many times has been a major factor. You saw the great effect of that soul bind as in mitigating the escape of Cuckoo and the initiation. Carl just messing up that entire giving so much more to Boom than you'd expect, tying them up basically in terms of net worth, just a 2k advantage for GEEK fan. But you take a look at how spaced apart, it's not that big of a gap anymore.
No, the Lycan. He's got the full book coming out, Necro 3 book. He's found Cuckoo. He has double damage through bottom up and a new Deso. He's still not popping the DD because he doesn't need to. Cuckoo's dead.
I love this build. Going straight for that Desolator after finish off that physical damage, it's very rough start for Mikado. Not getting anything from lane, he was not finding farm. Really free reign on the jungle because Drill had to be there. It's hard to deal with. They're gonna go for the Roche. It is scanned out, so can get something done, but it looks like it's falling a bit too fast.
Like, Cuckoo's not there to tank it and be the front line for the set. Who else is going to jump in? Like, Carl's just getting destroyed every time he tries.
I hope
And against all odds, at 23 minutes in, it'll be Boom that takes the first road charm. And by the way, their work lead now down to 1K. And they just took a road. And now they move forward as Whiteman chains up the Kono, catches him, and he is dead.
Whiteman just melted.
I mean,
they shouldn't be. They're going to lose that tier 2 as well. You have to remember, Dreamwell does have the Necro Trees now. He's going to be able to melt through these objectives. Still has the Shapeshift as if they want to.
Mid lane, FBZ drops the arena, but he is by himself. Even had a BKB, but the whole line just in time, holding him down. Here comes Makoto, gets the chain, has the ink swell. They want the gyro first, but a huge will-o-wisp, and now the echo comes down. The gyro goes down. The Carl is trying to fight back. Makoto is low, he does lose the Aegis, but here comes Dream himself. He will find Whiteman. The only man left is Carl, who will manage to jump out of there. Still, you would argue, a better team fight for Boom. They got the better goal change. It does end up being a 3-for-3, and I guess you would argue for FBZ that was a bit of an early initiation. But still, you found the pause 1, you found the pause 1 and a couple of supports. You can't be too upset.
No, definitely not. You forced the usage of those fresh BKB well from that was the 10-second BKB charge on Carl, the 10-second BKB charge on Raven. So you're slowly whittling down in that. They're not going to have the biggest, longest edge community fights. You do expend the Aegis, but you found those kills, you found the objectives you want. Boom Esports is still pretty happy. Still slowly building back up. GEEK fam does have ways, fights around. We're gonna have a lot more careful.
Arena is there. Inkswell solves everything. They do running line. Cuckoo jumps in. They force the BKB, but the soul line is there. Now the cooldown will come out, and that will allow them to walk away. But that's 2 charges of the BKB now, going down in the exact same spot for the exact same initiation.
You know, the biggest thing about this as well, it's like FBZ has to be. I mean, that's down to 9 seconds too, but just to use it in response, he's using it to play aggressively, and that's really making the difference for Boom. They're just the ones dictating the pace of the game from a deficit into a 3K lead. Fam have to find a way to get back in. I have to mention Carl still saving up for a radiant point on Monkey King. I'm not sure if the timing is going to be good enough. Like, he should go for a value item at this point. A lot more presence than just saving up for the Sacred Relic.
Yeah, I can't say I agree with it either. This is not exactly Thompson timing, that's for sure. FBZ gonna jump in. Fisher gonna be there on time. They found the speed on one, and that's the call gone. Now with the ink swell on. I'm saying the Danger Dream itself. He will take care of them. So they're trying to fight. Will-o-wisp gonna be there. He's in the middle of it with the arena. They go straight off the coast. The Monkey King is dead. The BKB starter went off on the gyro as Whiteman. He'll drive back from the Keeper of the Light. And this game is getting harder and harder as time goes on. Boom will not go for a tier 3 push as the up for them, and the buybacks did. Are they actually going to fight? This is not the fight. Cuckoo. But they're going to lose Zephyr. It's a high. He jumps in and finds. He will go down to the end, but they'll lose Raven. Cuckoo's about to fall, but Makoto is just controlling everybody. They can't even kill the Mars. This could be GB. Is Carl trying to run away, but how many diebacks are we seeing here? He's caught. That's a dieback from the Monkey. I think the game's over.
That's awesome. They should be able to melt through these objectives. They're gonna have Shapeshift in 7 seconds.
It's tier 4s. Like, there's no pullbacks left.
How much else still going for the tier? Yeah, there you go. Pops the Shapeshift. just gonna go for the safe play, not the racks, but not.
No, go for the T4s, right? Like, there's no bypass.
Middle tower.
Dream Hotel just assembled as a...
Radiant's top barracks.
Looks like they just want to play it safe. They're gonna go for the mega creeps,
Okay.
and just, they don't want to risk. They are ahead, they know that they could just swing back, but there you
That
go.
GG's been cool.
Alright.
Yeah.
Just like that. Alright, boom. It looked iffy, right? Had a much better time around number 2. But small mistakes like Carl getting caught out, just the positioning in those fights. And Boom just finds a way back in. So congrats to Boom, they take the series